Hello. Welcome to this week's episode of the Pursuing Horizons podcast. Today we're speaking with Keifer Polehoyki. I think I
There
got
we go.
that.
Yeah, you did.
First try.
You
Oh
got
yeah.
it, dude.
I was
Hell
gonna go
yeah.
with pull my donkey, but that was second guess. Anyways, Keith and I know each other through Zach Spencer and his business coaching and mentoring group. But yeah, he's a coach at a Calgary, and yeah, he's been crushing it. He has his UMP group. So today we're going to talk about the whole concept of eating the frog and just going, giving her. Um, let's get into it, man. First of all, thank you for making the time. We're hyped to have you on.
Thanks for having me. I think it's cool.
Yeah, dude. So everybody has to, so don't groan about it. Villain origin story. Let's hear it.
I think I posted this on my Instagram story the other day, and I was putting my emotion into it. But pretty much, I'm 30 years old now, but I got into like working out and bodybuilding when I was around 20. But before that, I I was the skinny, exactly what I said in my Instagram story. I was the skinny, shy, ginger kid, picked on in school. I played a lot of sports. However, soccer was my go-to. I had no muscle mass, nothing. And yeah, dude, high school wasn't rough, but it was, I don't know. I didn't go to parties. I was the kid that sat in the same part of the hallway. Good friend group, but I just didn't have any confidence with myself. I didn't know where exactly I was going. I mean, most kids younger, I mean, they're not really clear on where they're going. I just felt really, really lost. Um, but yeah, I went to Florida to go try to go pro in soccer in grade 12 and really challenged myself, separating myself from my family and my peers and my environment. Didn't work out, came back home, felt really lost. Didn't get injured or anything. I just literally had a problem with confidence, man. I had a problem with confidence and seeing the future of where I could go with things. And I actually decided to come home, finish everything up back here in Alberta, Calgary. And then from there, I went on this journey with improving myself mentally and physically because when I was playing soccer in Florida, they were like, dude, you're gonna get wrecked on this field. I said, we're not playing rugby. But then I started to play against other players from around the world, and you have to be aggressive in sports. You have to be strong. So that's when I came back home, started working out, got obsessed with it, and completely transformed my life into a man that I'm still kind of growing and learning, but I've used the character traits, I guess we'll kind of talk about on this call, of eating the frog and different mindset and perspective to quit my job, go all in on my business, find my dream girl who's now going to be my wife next year, and building a community and a club of men who are becoming the best versions of themselves. So that's just kind of like a quick little overview of me.
Dude, that's a sweet story, man.
Yeah.
One thing I sort of want to say too is like I just think it's so rad like that like we all kind of like go through these like tough times and then we all are like, okay, I'm gonna work on myself. Because you can go the other way, right? It's really easy to be like, okay, and I was this for a long time. I could be woe is me, I'm gonna drink and party and just like do escapism. And if that's your path, man, cool. I've tried it. I don't ever see it working for anybody, but I don't
Yeah.
no judgment on anyone. But then it's like we start to get better, whether it's like psychologically, physically, like all those ways. And then the first thing we want to do is help other people and show other
Oh yeah.
people, and especially men helping men. Like that's just like we're still so new to that whole thing, and there was still so much stigma there, and like it was tough, man. God, it was tough. Like I'm 39 now, and back then it was brutal for that, and especially I struggled with confidence and everything too. Now, the first thing my brain hit on when you were telling your story there is tell me about going pro in soccer. I want to get more of that, or trying to tell me about that journey a little bit more because I think that's a big part.
Yeah, I mean, I always I was the type of guy, I wasn't the big music kid or anything, but I mean, sports felt like something that felt very natural to me. My parents got me into sports and playing soccer, and not the hockey kid, the Canadian hockey kid, but um, yeah, when I left to Florida, it was such an experience because I was like one of the youngest guys. I was 17. I graduated high school a little bit early, so I was around guys in their early 20s,
Yeah.
and we're all trying to go to like Europe.
And
and
was
Austria.
that college soccer or was that trying to go like MLS or I
No, so MLS wasn't big at the time, man.
yeah.
Maybe not as big as it is now,
Yeah.
but um, I was with a Brazilian coach and a German coach, and they had their separate kind of camps, and we met some people here in Calgary, built some connections, and had the ability to go out there and train with those guys. And yeah, I thought I was good here. And you go meet people with different uh, cultures, man, and how they
Yeah.
play the sport in different countries. And that really opened up my eyes because it taught me a lot about like how people think, how athletes think in different parts of the world. And so, yeah, I was there for not long, dude. I was there for like 7 months, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big
So
shocker for me, though.
totally, man. My stepdad is he used to work for one of the EPL teams,
Oh,
and
really?
I love sports, but
Yeah.
growing up out here it was like hockey, football, all the big ones. But I always like, well, if I call myself a sports fan, like the world sport is soccer, like I or football or whatever you want to call it, right? Like, and I had to get into it. And when I saw his team made it up to the Premiership for a game, and I saw they were called Middlesbrough, and when I saw Middlesbrough play Tottenham, I was like, this is there. I sang and jumped the entire time. I got nothing but love for soccer. Now, another thing you mentioned there, which I think really ties into a lot of the subject matter we talk about here, is when that was done. And I
Yeah.
think like a lot of so much empathy for that because I like yeah, I was a kid and I'm like I'm going to the NHL, I'm going to the NHL. But that's because all my friends said it. When I remember the day I saw like Blink 182 for the first time, my world changed. It was like I saw
Yeah.
Blink 182 and like Tony Hawk landed the 900 at the same time, and I was like, I was like, I'm going,
Whoa.
this is everything that I want right here. And
Yeah.
then, so I was like, oh, everything from that moment. And I was probably like maybe 16, 17, went into how do I get on tour? How do I find the right combination of guys? What kind of music we're going to write? Like getting used to that. And that was the next, oh my gosh, like decade plus of my life. Never thought it would get as big as it got. And then when it was just done and I'm like 25, I was like, how did I already peak? Like what now? And I was
Yeah, but why did
lost.
it, why was it done for you though? Like, why was it done? Because I know you're asking, but like, before I
Yeah.
give you my answer, why was it done for you? Like, what happened?
Man, what a question. And I have probably told this story thousands of times, and that's the first time someone's asked me that. So cool. Okay, so I reflect on this a lot, and I think the thing for me is because of the way it blew up, because what people didn't see was all the years of like sleeping on a van floor. Like I left grade 12 to go tour the US like three different times for the next 2 years playing to like literally I was telling this story with one of my clients today. Like we would play zero people most nights except for the bartender. And I was underage and I didn't drink back then or anything. So I was kind of just like on like summer vacation
Yeah.
essentially. And we would play for people. I remember in Albuquerque, New Mexico, playing at a burrito shop, like to like families eating, and like this wasn't stereos back then. It's what turned into stereos, and it was like that screamo emo music. So imagine like you're sitting down in Albuquerque, normal day, and these like skinny little white kids from Canada in like girls' jeans are screaming at you while you're trying to eat. But I think, and then we got lucky back in the day with MySpace, and just to give this little background story here, to lead into your to the answer of what I think, but Gene Simmons was trying to find a band from Canada to make big, and he stumbled upon us randomly. And I could go into a whole, but what I truly
Yeah.
believe was random or not of that situation. And we invited us to do a reality show on Much Music back then. And after all these years of touring and already feeling like I was a veteran, and I'm like maybe like 21, 22 at this point, we had all of our faces on TV all the time. Summer Girl, the big song blew up. We had the second song that came out, Throw Your Hands Up. There were all these big songs, and all of a sudden, like my goal was to just be on tour with my friends and make some money
Yeah.
and like have and see the world with music. And all of a sudden, we were playing like NHL arenas and like stadiums, and we were always on TV. Couldn't go to a Jays game because we get recognized when we were out in Toronto. It was just wild. It was just wild. And that was like such a taste of holy hell, that's so big. And then we were just constantly chasing that high over and over again. Every like all of my self-worth was kind of put on what people thought of me, and I just had no skills, man. Like just with my upbringing, my lack of emotional education, and I just it ate me alive. Like I got into like substance abuse, and it was a great experience. I'm very very grateful for it, but we've chatted as like because we're all best friends, like we've said like why did we blow it up so fast. It's because as like grandiose that rise was, and it's so funny because 50 Cent told us this, enjoy that rise, because once you hit there, there's nowhere to go but down, and that's where like you get wild, man. And if I could
Oh,
go back, I would have just got back to work and wrote another album. But I was like into the lifestyle. So, and then it was so easy for me to be like, oh, like it's done now. Now, oh, like the industry, it is live. So it's I don't take any ownership over that. You know, it's like I can
wow.
just yeah. So halfway through, and this is why it had to happen. I got really into fitness and working out as like a rebellion to the music scene. I'm like, well, these are all like skinny little weird like guys. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
turning to my old like jock self, and I sports were my first love, so I leaned back into that. And luckily, I was married to a girl in LA, and she had a friend who was a musician who owned a gym, and I interned there. And I was like, okay, I have something else. But I was like, I spent many years afterwards trying to figure out what to do next. And I'm sorry for that long, long little tail there,
No, I
but
love that, man.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. Every time I hear something about like, oh shit, what now? And I just like, so like David Goggins, we talk about all the time,
Yeah, yeah.
and his last book, Never Finished, I think finally addressed that. Because it's like, okay, he made the Navy SEALs, then what? Oh, he lost all this
Yeah.
weight, he did all this thing, and then he became Goggins on tour and be Goggins the famous guy, and then it's like you're really never finished. There's gonna be something else after that, but you don't know it when you're a kid, you know? Like it's
Right.
like we need purpose, and I think when we lose purpose, we go crazy as a
Yeah.
people. Like when you're just doing nothing, and it's funny because the anxiety and all the depression and stuff will tell you like, oh, I'll just do nothing. Like that's how I'm safe, but that's actually what feeds into it, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. Okay,
crazy,
so
man.
now what's it mean to you,
Oh,
brother?
yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I didn't well, I'm learning a lot about you right now. That's great. I know Bryce comes from a royal family
Yeah,
in the UK. Just kidding. He said MacArthur.
Sir
Um
MacArthur.
yeah.
The half Asian part is confusing in that whole story.
I know everyone at home. Everyone's like, but I thought like,
But I thought MacArthur was a yeah.
yeah. Well, get
That's
on that
funny.
visual version.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I get yeah, that's a great answer and story, Rob. But I mean, for me, I guess it was sort of this same thing, man. I mean, I was afraid about talking about this like not too long ago because I didn't want to seem like the quitter, but I just it was challenging. It was so
Yeah.
challenging. And then like all my friends back home, and challenge is good. Doing hard things is good. I always try to preach that, but like all my friends back home at the time were all like, "Oh, we're gonna go to university, we're gonna do this," and so they have a plan. And even though they might not follow that plan 10 years down the road, I felt a little lost because I had high hopes of, oh yeah, I can probably get to a higher level in the soccer world. However, the level I was trying to get to, or possibly was like maybe a lower tier, tier three, tier four at the time, playing in Europe, and I think that would have been a dream. But yeah, dude, I just felt a sense of I was confused. I didn't know. I think I just had a lot of ego too, man. Like
Oh,
when
the
I was
ego part.
young,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
like it was like a lot. Like I thought I was gonna go. I think most guys think that, right? When they're young. Like, dude, I'm
Yeah.
playing top tier. Like, I'm gonna get to the NHL. I'm gonna get to the
Yeah.
Premier League. And then I think that really hit me. And then I went back home and I was just like working these jobs. And I think that's when I never experienced like crazy depression, but had these
Totally.
terrible vices, dude.
Terrible vices, man.
Yeah. And I thank God, but I didn't drink a lot, didn't get into this stuff, but I was just hanging out with the wrong people, smoking tons of weed, drinking every day.
Yeah.
Porn was a natural thing. And
Totally,
like,
dude.
right, so that like the whole working out kind of helped me kind of deal with like my thoughts, I guess, to get into the gym. And that's what I try to tell guys all the time now. It's like, well, there's going to be the benefit of you looking good and more energy, but like we got to use it as therapy. You don't need to be a bodybuilder, but you
Yeah.
should use something as therapy, right? That's physical, that connects the
Totally.
mind to the body and vice versa.
And that's truly what I think will never be replaced as robots by is
Yeah.
because that for I know for me my coaching style now like a decade plus into this is that I it is a bit, and people will get mad about hearing this because I do believe in like professional therapy and everything too, but like I think what we really need is just community and conversation, especially men. Not to discredit females obviously at all, but like it's just
Yeah.
we're stupider.
Yeah.
But the ego, man, that there was, oh my God, like I came back to Edmonton to move back into my mom's basement at 26. leaving LA, leaving like this, like it was just the ultimate
Lifestyle.
failure, and I had just no emotional tools. But I remember like when I think about it objectively, without feeling now, had I just like gone back, taken a couple days to be like, holy hell, that was wild, and then started my journey. And you know what's funny? As I say this, I realize that's what I did. It was just in a painful way because I was like,
Yeah.
when the dust all cleared and I was like, okay, acceptance. I'm back in Edmonton. That's when I reached out to a friend that was at World Health, being okay, well, this is the other thing I do. But I had this constant ego thing, being like, oh, like you're Rob from Stereos, which literally means nothing. It's in like it's something in 1.5 countries in the world, and I just wouldn't do things, being like, oh, okay, whatever. And I could have gone back home for free, and instead, what I did is I lived at a hotel downtown for a month and wasted all my money just to like feel that lifestyle still, even though it was so
Really?
over. Yeah. And I realized like so many friends I've had and myself just to continue what was done, it's just hard. It was really tough for me to step away from because I put all of myself and identity into that. And I just thought this will last forever. And that's just not the nature of that. But what you mentioned about fitness there with I'm very, very similar. Where when I was younger, it was purely aesthetics and strength and bravado, and that did wonders for my confidence. Truthfully, did so nothing but love and respect for that. But the wisdom I've carried from stereos now into my career in this is it. Anytime I'm attaching my self worth to what other people think of me or their opinion on my product, it's just a recipe for disaster. It's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And that pendulum swing is something I focus on so much now, of just like at the end of the day, my worth and my ego and all that comes from no one but me on the inside.
Yeah.
And it can't be affected to a certain point. But when I was younger, there was nothing there. And it's like the stupid decisions I made based off just like filling this void that was missing is just so so silly. So I think like when you're coaching someone, like telling them, yeah, like this has to be like not telling them not against their goals, but like I almost lead them there through conversation, being like, we can really help each other in more than one way here, and not just a physical way. And not every coach is like that, and nor do you need to be that way at all. But I really, really just resonated with what you said there.
Wow. Yeah. No. Yeah. I agree too, man. I feel like there's a lot to unpack there, but yeah, I feel like when it comes down to it, like when we are talking about what you said about how men, like you could use the word toxic masculinity. So I've seen this word come up quite a bit, and you know what, Bryce, you kind of laugh there, man. You're like, when
We
Rob's like,
talked about
that
this
we're dumb.
recently.
Yeah, when we're
Yeah.
like, oh, men are. It's like, um, yeah, it almost. I hate to say this, because my fiance is a coach as well. She coaches women, and this is a self-belief I'm getting over. I think Bryce probably knows a little bit about this within the group that we're in, but I'm like, yeah, the coaching men can be quite hard because there is an ego. There is like, I can figure it out. I don't need the help. Um, and I'm just trying to be the best role model I can. But I think us as men, we really need to, like what you said too, Rob, community. It, we need to build stronger communities where people can just talk and hang out, just like this. Guys shooting the shit, having fun, hanging out. Because yeah, AI can come in and write you a meal plan and workout program, but like what it can't do is probably bond a community of individuals or guys that are like pushing each other to do more and to be better, right?
Hmm.
And I feel like this is a huge thing on social media. It's like, oh, you don't want to be too good. You don't want to work out too much. You don't want to, try to impact your life financially as a guy. Like you got to play a little bit lower standard. And I fucking hate that, man.
I
It's
hate it.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, we have to challenge ourselves. It's insane to think that most guys just don't even try anymore.
So, what led you then, like the series of events or decisions to where with the whole Eat the Frog thing and the whole movement we have going now? Like, how did that momentum build? How did it start? When did you say, like, man, like, there it is, there's the idea?
Well, I think it's been the journey. Maybe some people can relate to when there's a lot of change going on and you need to force yourself to do something that you know you need to do. I felt like eat the frog term really came into play when I was in my early 20s when it came down to the gym. But I loved going to the gym. So it wasn't really eating this frog. And what eating the frog means is doing the hardest task. It's like just eat the frog, get it in your mouth, get it done and over with. But I think about it now and I reflect on it. I loved training so much, and I still do. But back when I first started, the gains are fresh. You know what I mean? The gains are fresh. When you're younger, your T's higher if you're lucky or you're working on yourself. As I felt this like huge urge of like momentum and intensity. But now I've reached 30 and I've thought about it, and we've talked about this in the group that Bryce and I are in, but it's like eat the frog now is mostly mainly for me. I try to put it to my clients, but it's the business tasks as well as moving forward and trying to keep the standard high of showing that, you're a man and you can still take care of yourself. You don't need to be a bodybuilder, but getting the hardest task done first thing in the day. And I think starting my business and realizing like, oh my God, because I pretty sure I'm gonna go get tested soon. I have ADHD through the roof. So
Welcome,
that's why I was kind of nervous about this. I was telling Bryce, it's like, dude, I don't want to go off
dude.
topic,
I'm like
but
fully like one of us, one
are,
of us. Yeah.
what about you, Bryce? Are you?
I've never officially gotten like a
I
diagnosis, but
I
I would
Too
feel
say
focused.
I would say so. Yes.
No.
yeah, dude. Okay, here's my take, man. And like, let me preface this by saying, like, I am not like I'm out of my lane here, other than someone who's been diagnosed with it. But I don't think there's a way to not have a form of it with what they call it. And that's a whole nother thing too. I know guys like Rogan and Williamson get really into if this is even a thing. But look at the meat, like there is something trying to get my attention 24/7. And it started when I was a kid and like MTV and shit came out. It's like of course we're gonna have a delay, like a deficit to what they're used to when there was literally only being outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I think also attention is probably one of the most important things we can get. So I understand why it would be tried to maybe, and like here's where conspiracy Rob comes out, why it would all be like controlled like that. But like I just don't think you can exist as someone who's like in the social world, like in the community, especially in a big city, with how much media we get, how fast headlines change, and just like the things we're interested in. That like there's no way it's that we don't all have. Everybody could find. It was never on my radar. I saw someone put a checklist in front of me and I was like, oh look, I have it too. So like it's interesting, man. Like, and I find that like they used to say ADHD finds everyone because you guys are at the same vibration and stuff, but like I
Yeah.
still have met no people that I can't talk like this with,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying too. So, I mean, going back on that, man, like eating the frog is for me, it's like it's actually fighting the urge to do something else that's going to get me off the path of where I'm trying to go. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like everybody can eat a frog, but it doesn't need to be the same frog that I'm eating or that you're eating, Rob, or that you're eating, Bryce. It could be a simple weigh myself this morning. I try to tell the guys, it's like if you can weigh yourself, start there. Try not to have. We're not talking about like an
Dude,
emotional, aspect to the scale, but it's just like starting small, and then as you progress and get better, the frogs get bigger.
what was the first frog, man?
The first frog.
Yeah, what was your first frog that got
I
you
love
here?
that question.
Yeah.
Um, First frog, man. I think. Well, this. I think the first frog was my first men's physique natural competition.
Sick. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first frog, and I put it back, man, all the time. I think I was 24, 25 when I did my first comp. And the years prior, this is a huge learning lesson too. I think I've learned, but you guys can probably touch on this too. But I always used to talk about doing things because it felt good. So, obviously, like, oh, I'm gonna do this. It's releasing dopamine. You feel good. And people are like, great, that's awesome. I can't wait to see you do this. Or maybe you got haters. So I'd always talk about competing, and I never did. And then um, my friends and my family, I can tell now they didn't respect me as much or trust me as much because this kid would say you would do something and then he wouldn't do it. So then one day I had enough and I was working the bar industry and I didn't really like my job, and I was again mid-20s trying to figure it all out, starting small businesses before like taking the online coaching seriously. And then I said, screw it, I'll just do it. And I went to Texas for my first comp on a non-natural show, and I wanted to place top 10. And my coach at the time was like, okay, like I'm not working with you if you don't focus on being first. But all that work, I realized that eating the frog was just like doing the thing I didn't want to do, but I must do in order to get to where I'm trying to do and just get it done first thing in the morning. So eating the frog was the 45-minute cardio sessions I don't know, 5, 6 days a week, closing the bar the night before and just like getting it in. And then people are going out 25, having fun, 24, 23, drinking, having fun. And I'm like the odd one out, especially in the restaurant industry. They're like, everyone's like, what's wrong with this guy? So that was like the first taste of the frog in my mid 20s. I can't recall it in my early 20s because again, I
Yeah.
felt so in love with training. It didn't seem hard at the time. And so now it's like eating the frog is a hard thing to do, but you just eat the frog. So that was
Yeah.
my first frog for sure, man. It was that competition that led up to going to the show.
The obstacle is the way.
Yeah,
And
Ryan
it's
Holiday.
very, very similar to me. I struggle with, I can get things 95% there, but that last 5% is plagued. My of
Mm,
incompletion has plagued my life. Bryce and I were talking about this recently, and he, in his personal and professional life, to me, without giving away too much, has demonstrated some very excellent examples of doing that. And it's been very inspiring to see. But no one's going to leave that. No one's going to leave. If you can get your that fear out of the way
yeah,
and tackle that hardest task first, you're never coming out of that feeling worse in
yeah,
any way. And if anything, you're inspired. It's never as bad as you thought it was going to be. And you're only truly scared of the feeling of it. And before I keep stealing Bryce's thunder here, Bryce, based on what we chatted about, like, and especially with everything in our personal and professional lives, like, I know
Yeah.
that resonates with you too.
Yeah, I think one of the first things I kind of wanted to mention was before we kind of dropped the buzzword of toxic masculinity, right? Um, and Rob and I had to talk about this like I can't remember which podcast it was. We talked about the idea of embodying certain toxic masculine traits and certain feminine traits, right? I'm air quoting for people listening. So it's like I think we can definitely embody certain traits that would be seen as toxic masculine or certain traits that are seen as like feminine traits. And like feminine's not a bad thing either. I think feminine's more geared toward like nurturing, caregiving, like a lot of empathetic, compassionate traits that I think men need to have. But also like a lot of toxic air quote masculine traits I think a lot of men do need to still have, right? So I think if we're trying to be like, you don't want to be docile. Again, you don't want to be too docile where you're not able to take initiative, take action, take chances, take risks, and be able to actually like stand up for yourself and for people that you love, that you believe in, whatever. And I think to really be a man, whatever that means to you, is having numerous different traits, whatever that may be.
yeah. I agree.
Yeah, it's the balance. And I just want to add on that toxic thing too. Like, I know I think it was maybe like 3 pods ago of just you and I talking about it, Bryce. Um, that it's obscured. Like, I've seemed to be like really getting targeted for a lot of like that buzzword right now, on social media. And I think people are viewing masculinity a little like more like this like aggression and all that stuff. Like, sure, like there's potentials for that as well, but to me it's more like that proactiveness, like, um like just providing as opposed to a nurturing, like just getting back to like the nature levels of it. So it's interesting to see how like there are people out there, I'm sure, and that's fine, like no judgment on anyone, who would look at even just a podcast of men trying to help each other and say, "Oh, this is toxic masculinity," and it's like it's just silly, and
100%.
it kind of undoes the whole thing. Like everyone's just trying to get better and like figure it out, and unfortunately, there's things around us in our life and influences we can see that are really trying to like stray, like to get you to stray from the path, and whatever that path is. Now I'm not saying like a religion or anything like that, whatever path you decide to walk and whatever sets of like traits, values, morals that you want in there. I'm going to circle back for one thing here quickly, um and then I'm going to get you to touch on all of these things at once: toxic masculinity and these two things here. um as much as I agree with that, yes, get the hard thing out of the way first, eat the frog. In my life, and this is to my own, I take full accountability for this. There have been times where I was so in my own way as like a teenager, or like I remember this one example that keeps popping to my head was trying to drop off a resume at Londonderry Mall in like the 90s to get a job. And I was just like, ego was obviously in the way. And there was some reason, like the thought of walking in and having people know that I was applying for a job felt like unbearable to me, which makes no
Oh,
sense to me
same, dude.
now.
Same.
Dude, but I remember this profound, it felt like a true like physical block to like walk in. I was like, I couldn't get past it. It was crazy. Years later I started to learn like and you've mentioned this a little bit, and I think both are probably true. I'll literally start my first win, and I know it's old ancient wisdom, but by making my bed. That landed with me for some reason, and I was like, holy shit, I accomplished the first thing I was said I was gonna do today. And that would freaking like snowball into like the crazy thing. So I find some days I like that slow snowball approach to it. And some days I just have exactly what it takes and I'm just ready to rock. And I used to be like, oh, what's the right day? What's the wrong day? And now I'm more just kind of like, I think the best thing I can be is just adaptable to each situation.
Yep, I
Yeah,
agree.
man.
I agree with that, Rob. No, yeah, because I'm there's some days where my fiance is like, "How'd you get so much done?" And there's some days I'm like, "Oh my God, I can't even get the frog into my mouth."
Yeah,
Especially
totally.
being my own kind of boss now, I'm learning how to build a business, and I don't have someone telling me what to do. But I can relate on that too, man. Like it, I remember my dad giving me a hard time coming back from Florida, because I'm like, oh my God, like I was playing in Florida and I didn't know where I was gonna go, and then I came back home to comfort, and then he's pushing me out of this, this comfort stage, being like, go get a job, you gotta figure something out here. And I went through the same aspect. Like I didn't like going to somewhere to for a job with a resume
Yeah,
and be like, screw this, man. What am I doing?
yeah, I know.
Um,
Silly.
yeah, and yeah, I think that's the thing too, is like we can't when you're talking about adapting to like the environment or like how you feel, um and that's another big saying that I say with my guys all the time is, you might not feel motivated because motivation's a feeling, right? But staying disciplined within the action itself is something that you need to focus on, because discipline is an action. So my thing is building momentum. It can be hard, it feels really hard. But then once you got the grip of it, you just gotta keep going. And anything that's getting in your way, just say, this momentum took so long to build. I'm just gonna keep going. But you have to learn how to adapt. So same thing when I help my guys with like eating out and doing all this different stuff. It's like you don't have to let loose and go, drink 12 beers and have 3 burgers. Manage it, manage the momentum. But as soon as you lose that momentum, it's hard, man. It's very
Hmm.
hard to gain it back again. That slow burn that you had to go through at the beginning, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
There's another analogy that I like to talk about too that I read from The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And
Oh,
he talks about this analogy of like an older school water pump, and he kind of talks about like the water in the pump being momentum.
yeah,
So like initially, like it's hard to get the pump actually going. And what a lot of people will do is they'll at the very beginning they'll pump like shit to get the water going, but it's not sustainable, right? They'll like pump like shit, it'll start spurt like going, or it'll just give a little split of water, and you're like, fuck, all that work for that?
yeah,
And then they're like, yeah, I can't sustain that. But or you just do more of a sustainable pace, the water starts flowing, and it's way easier to maintain the flow of water versus trying to pump like shit, get it going, and then stop. So I think that's like a cool analogy that I think about too, and I often use it with like a lot of clients as well. As I'm like, hey, when you start, it's our job as coaches to teach you which pace to use, to teach you to pace yourself, so that way you aren't getting overzealous and you're not tiring yourself out and trying to do things super fast, because that's again the killer of momentum, which is like probably the biggest issue for everyone with anything that they're trying to do that's like new, and it could be fitness or otherwise.
well, yeah. Do you guys agree that, like, my thought process on this is, in the industry, in the fitness industry, everyone's selling the fast method. So everybody wants something so freaking fast, but they're not willing to actually sit through the pain and realize if it's slower, it might be better for you, because if it's slow and you can't get to the result as fast as you would like, but you stick through that slow momentum, you'll learn a lot more about yourself and what you're capable of doing. Because I hate, man, when I work with guys or people talk to me all the time. It's like, yeah, I'm just trying to get here fast. I'm like, you're just going to get to your end result, and then you're
Yeah.
going to gain all the fat back, look in the mirror, and think, I can't do anything in life, because you literally can't stick to a slower approach to actually scientifically get your body working properly, get the metabolism going, and sticking to habits, the mindset, the psychology that you need to like stick with it. And that's the thing, man, is everybody wants fast results. And I think what you were saying, Rob, too, is like social media, dude. It's like dopamine, click, click, click here, attention, attention. It's like, I want something, buy, Amazon, go, 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 go.
Hmm.
So, yeah, if people just learn to sit through the shit and continue to eat the frog, they're going to realize that their life can completely change. And I had a friend, a really good friend, um, he was like, dude, I can't figure it out. I was like, what do you can't figure out? He's like, I just can't figure out how to get to that lean sort of body. He's always wanted to challenge himself, improve to himself what he's capable of. And then I asked him, well, how long has it been? He's like, well, like 6, 7 weeks. I'm like, okay, that's some time. But are you truly giving all the effort? Because sure, you can wait, but if you're not putting in the effort too, and then most people slack, right? And then it's like, fuck, man. People just end up screwing themselves over and then
Yeah.
digging a hole, and then the depression comes in.
Yeah. Like I'll
So
tell any consults or new clients now. Like when I was younger, I would just like it was like yes, yes, yes to everything, right? Just to get a
yeah,
client. But now I to not have that happen and like to lead to those outcomes, I very much off the start, I'm like, if you are here, like, okay, if it's someone that wants to reach out and like, they have a wedding coming up, like obviously that's a massive motivator. Depending how far out it is, it's like, yeah, I'll get you ready for this, but that's not like whether you work with me or not,
yeah,
it's not about like your fitness journey is now the rest of your life.
yeah,
Like I will, and that's how I like to coach and teach of like, hey, yeah, we're trying to hit this like micro goal in a macro cycle, but this is now going to be you now know how to do stuff with the barbell for the rest of your life. And it's not just like, oh, for in my 20s I worked out a little bit, which it is for the majority of people, right?
right.
um because for some in a life of chaos that I've had and like not being able to complete things and all this, for some reason that stuck, or that stuck, that's the right word, I don't know.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's like I just kept showing up to the gym, even when I was like at for some reason, like that was the one out of all the things, and then having success in that and knowing I could like to validate exactly what you said is what led into like, oh man, like I really got my physical appearance and my strength to a place I didn't think I could, and I did, and no one coached me through it but myself. Now let's get my mind there. Now, okay, well, I didn't really learn about finances. Maybe I can apply that same method I had at the gym and got me the success to learning about money. And it's
Hmm.
so interesting how it compounds. And I ask myself all the time, like, what was it about fitness that got me stoked? And honestly, I hate to say it, I think when I was a young kid, just looking for any kind of like validation,
Yep,
someone
same.
mentioned, "Hey, sick muscles," and I was like, "What?" And that was it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, same here. I would love to touch on that, Rob, because I think a big one for me was, I mean, I had a kind of different, not a different upbringing. I have four parents, so I have a stepdad and a stepmom. Like you yourself, you said you have a stepdad, and um, my mom and my dad had me when they're really young, and they're actually really good friends. And the step parents, everyone's great friends, and I'm so so grateful for that. However, like I've always had this different dynamic with my family, and it's an amazing, healthy family I always grew up with. But yeah, there's something about this competitive edge, I guess, I've always had with my dad, not so much my stepdad. But I saw my dad quite often. But I think as I'm gotten older, I realized I think there was a big point too, was me to work out to prove to him, hey, I'm a man. But
Yeah.
that's
Oh
how I
yeah.
defined a man when I was 20, was
Yeah.
big and jacked. And now I see, you can see it online. Big jack guys get their ass kicked all the time from
Yeah.
guys in Muay Thai or doing whatever.
Oh
But
yeah. Yeah.
I define that as a man, and I needed this, maybe this validation from my father to prove that, like, hey, like, look at me, like I can put some weight. I'm starting to, my muscles are starting to come in. Um, but yeah, man, I think a huge part of it too is I don't know about you guys, what your thoughts are on this, but I think I struggled with this when I started my business. But like seeking discomfort,
Mm-hmm.
like when I talk about people want things fast because they know if they do things for a longer period of time, it might be uncomfortable. And so I feel like um, I've kind of, Bryce has known this about me. Maybe I'm getting off topic here, but like I had trouble speaking to an ideal client and avatar online because I'd feel like, oh, nobody wants to seek the discomfort. So then I'll help the guy just lose 10 pounds, just water weight, but he'll gain it back. So what are your guys' thoughts on this? Like, is it maybe just like people not realizing their potential and the vision of where they can get to. Because I feel like as a coach, for me, I'm so focused on like driving the belief into people, because I'm like, listen, dude, like I know I can get you down 15 pounds, you'll feel better, I can reverse diet you, do all these different things. But like, why not reach for more? Why not seek more discomfort? And especially as a guy, I feel like shouldn't really want the easy kind of approach. I
It
think we should
yeah.
kind of try a little bit more. What do you guys think? I want both perspectives.
Yeah, sure. And I'll just hop in really quick, just so I don't take Bryce here. I just feel like I'm
Yeah.
totally like just like la la la. That's what happened. Maybe we do
You're
both
good.
have ADHD, but I think the micro version of what getting comfortable with discomfort would look like is something like a cold shower.
Yeah.
A lot of this will be Huberman now, but like delaying your coffee for 15 minutes. If coffee is like it's the first thing I think of in the morning, like for 20 plus years, you know.
Yeah.
And that 15 minutes, there's so much that can happen in like for that delayed gratification too, right? And then I think on the macro side of it, I'd say I made some changes in my life that started in like 2019, and then really got, I hate to say it because it wasn't always the best time for people, but it really got supported through COVID when I was like allowed to be doing nothing at home, but get better.
Yeah.
When I was getting into all this stuff that we talk about, I thought, okay, I'm ready for that like discomfort. And I was like, well, I've toured around, I've done all these things, you know, I've traveled with my band, but I've never done it by myself. And I thought, what a perfect little balance of struggle and discomfort with a reward, almost nightly for me. And that was, I got in my car and decided I was going to drive to New York and stop in Toronto on the way there, because I'd done that a million times, but always in a van with friends or on a bus. I'd never just done it, and it was like 14-hour drives with nothing but myself to talk to or to sing or something. And then I would sleep on the hood of my car on like traffic or sorry, like car rest stops and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was so incredible. I came back a different person and just started making decisions and tackling things that I just didn't even think I would ever tackle. I thought I was going to run away from them forever. But when you're building up that, like, hey, like, because we see potential in everybody, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's no one the hardest person you can do that for is yourself. Right? You can have all these goals and dreams, but if you don't believe in yourself and have like this perfect support system, you have to really get this on your own. So I think when it comes to men, like being like, don't you see, don't you want more, don't you want more, it's finding out like that every single person has a unique set of events that has made them a unique perception.
Yeah.
Almost. And my obvious viewing of them, like, don't you see what you're capable of, is not going to hit with them. But what I can do is get them small little wins that start bringing them closer to it, start leading that horse to the water a little bit more. And then it's awesome. Like when I look back in my career now, I feel like I've had friends that I'm not, it's all them. I've just maybe like led some crumbs to like, yeah, quit that job and go chase your passion. And now they're like, you know, taking photos on tour with big bands, or people that just wanted to go private in training and things like that. So it's fun to watch that momentum build it there. Sorry, Bryce, take over.
You're good. I actually have probably like a two-parter to this. So I think the first one is when I think about this, and then I know Keith could probably understand this too, just from the business group. It's like, I think there has to be a psychological pain point.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think a lot of people just haven't hit that point yet, which hasn't created too much urgency yet to actually change. I think they're at that point where they're just above water. They're not drowning yet, but they're just above water. And that's a kind of like a messed up analogy or thought process with it. But again, like once you actually have more urgency, there's more desire to change. And like you said too, like when someone's ready, they're ready. And the clients that we have or that we've acquired, when they come in, they're like, I'm ready. I'm like good to go. They adhere, the retention is good. They do what they're told to do. But I find for the people that struggle, like oftentimes I don't think they have enough clarity on what they want, but I don't think they've also reached their pain point. But to add layers to this too, like I think a lot of it comes down to managing expectations. And I think that's probably really one of the biggest issues that a lot of people have, and like myself included too, like especially for like any of us, but especially like in the media space or in the business realm too. You expect yourself to be going from like here to here tomorrow. But it's like, okay, well, no, like we got to incrementally like build up and like kind of like Rob said too, stack some small wins create some small goals or short-term goals so that way you're actually like you know what you're trying to push towards. And then Keith mentioned it earlier too, but it's like learning how to delay gratification, right? Which is
Yeah.
incredibly hard in today's society where like you can doom scroll and you can get fake dopamine from everything. There's porn at your fingertips. There's food on speed dial. You know, Uber Eats, skip the dishes. There's Amazon Prime where you can get sometimes same day shipping or like next day shipping. It's like you don't have to wait. So the idea of having to wait is like it's a far fetched idea for most people. So that's why in the very beginning stages, I don't know about like you guys, but I tell every single person that comes on, I'm like, hey, you realize this is going to take time. If you think this is going to take a month, then you are wildly mistaken. It's like you have to realize that you're going to be committing to this for probably at least 6 months to a
Yeah.
year, but like it's sustaining these habits over time. And it's like an ongoing process, but I feel like it's as long as you do a good job in the first like the first initial like consultation process and teach them how to manage expectations well, then I feel like it's actually like okay. But I feel like it's a lot of that kind of back end stuff in the beginning.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I think expectations is a huge thing too, because let's say a guy says, "Holy man, like you look ripped. I want to be like you." And I'm like, "Well, I have 10 years of like consistently, not every day's perfect, but there's a lot of days where I'm eating a frog, I'm doing the things I don't want to do." So like we can start you on a lifestyle approach, and how I define a lifestyle approach is like what Rob was saying. Like you literally make the freaking bed, man. Make the bed, take a pee, weigh yourself, drink some water, just small little wins. Get one protein meal in, and then you do that for 2 months. Well, I'm not going to look like you. Well, dude, like you have to first more develop yourself into the man you want to become, and how is he going to think and how is he going to act in all of the situations that happen. When your girl gives you crap, are you still going to show up? Hopefully. When you go to work and there's a lot of stress, are you still going to be disciplined in those small little actions for it to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
bigger and bigger over time? Now you're the man on the block. Like, dude, that's my neighbor and he's getting up at 5 a.m. to do a run. Like, he looks like the daddy on the block. He could steal my wife. So they want to be him within 2 months, but you can't be him. You cannot be the guy if you're not building those little small little actions. So yeah, I completely agree, guys. I think seeking discomfort is I guess the expectation of what people look at as discomfort, and also building that up and realizing that, like what you said, Rob, I think that was huge, man. That the perception, people could listen to this podcast and finally something clicks, or they could listen to it and be like, no, they can't see our perception of what we see as reality.
Yeah.
And I'm saying we're better, or because we're coaches, or we do these different things, but it's everyone has that different perspective on things and perception. So I think it's huge, man. It's why it can be hard coaching, people, because everyone's different.
Oh
Everyone's
yeah.
different, and you can't just do the copy and paste programs anymore.
No.
To really change people's lives, you need to dig deep and find that pain, and
Yeah,
trying to
that's it.
say, "Hey, bro,
That's it.
where, yeah, do you need to gain another 30 pounds for you to like actually take action? Do you need your wife to leave you for you to take action? Or can you try to come from a place of abundant, and say, I'm starting here,
Yeah.
right now?" And I think I'm learning that too, is from a business standpoint, I'm not perfect and I'm learning. And, Bryce, this too, like I'm trying to come from a place of, um, instead of throwing a grenade in my business. And what I mean by that too, Rob, is like blowing it up for things to go, "Oh my God, I'm about to drown. I'm going to get my ass to work."
Yeah.
Like gaining the 20 pounds and be like, "Holy shit, I
Yeah.
can't even see when I pee."
Yeah.
So I'm trying to come from a place of, might as well start here right now in order to get better. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my take on that.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
I have one kind of final question to wrap it up. If someone is having trouble eating the proverbial frog or a real frog, who's to judge?
You can also lick
Um,
some of those frogs too.
start there, maybe. So if
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
having trouble
Psychedelic.
licking the frog
There we go. Yeah.
or eating the frog, what would you give them as like some advice?
Get to know yourself. Um, and I think one of the best things to do to get to know yourself is doing hard things. Even though if you feel like you can't stick with it, but I think one of the best things you can do is to really like sit down, and and think about where you are in your life right now and bring some clarity around where you're trying to go. I'm not perfect at this too, but like I write every day, I journal every single day. And I don't speak or write in the way of I have six pack abs. I try to write and speak in the way of every single day I'm showing up, getting closer to my goal of getting six pack abs, because then you're going to trick the subconscious mind to thinking you already have it. So you need to have the clear vision and goals. And I know that sounds so like, I don't know, lame. Like, okay, Keith, I've heard that. But like, really, most people do not know a lot about themselves and like their pain threshold. Like, how bad does it need to get before you take action? And really, what is on that good side? Because we all know that people are going to run from pain. Like, if you're listening to this, you're going to run from the pain from instead of running to the benefit. That's
and,
humans. Like,
and
we're going to have to
that's
run from pain.
that's wired into us to escape danger. That's
Yeah.
not you being a weak person or anything
Yeah.
like that. It's just some can deal better than others in that world. There was one little comment there, and I hope I don't ADHD it, we'll say. Um, oh, Bryce just asked the perfect thing, and you said the perfect thing back, and I think I forgot it.
What was it?
Uh, I'll. It's in the world of you said know yourself, and that
Yeah.
phrase or interpretations of that phrase come up over all ancient wisdom. I can't remember if it was Plato or Socrates, but above his tomb, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
It said know yourself, right? And I think
Yeah.
that is the key. Is like, and you all there. Here's what it was: is you hit the magic word subconscious right at the end here, and I'm
Yeah.
instantly like I didn't even know that thing existed until I was like 30 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and it's anyone listening, like those are the two takeaways. Like find out, do a little research into your subconscious. You'll find out why certain things happen to you over and over again, and that it's not the world, it's on the inside. Incredible saying is the world is you pushed out, and I have never found that not to be totally true. My inner state absolutely dictates what filter I view the outside on. And that is usually that first step for me to being like, okay, so today I know I have this, like, I have to clean a hot tub and I'm not looking forward to it. Now,
Right.
I'm very grateful that that's the height of my stress today, for sure. But I know, like, if I can find, like, that right little bit of sitting with myself, understanding it, I can find the right filter to look through to get stoked to do it. Um, and that's what
Right.
I believe true alchemy to be. Sorry, you hit subconscious, and all of a
No.
sudden my
Yeah.
brain's like, let's talk about this
No.
forever.
Yeah. And I agree, Robin. Like, to quickly wrap up the question too, Bryce. Like, again, reminder to everyone. You have to take action to sometimes get to know yourself. So that's why you start on the small frogs. But sometimes you might have to actually think about what you want. But again, don't expect it to be 2 days, like where we're talking about everyone wants something really fast. It's like you have to balance it. You got to kind of have that place to kind of sit and think. And I think most men are always either chasing something, chasing some sort of high or some sort of reward. But if we can just kind of sit, really think, and then once we kind of sit and start thinking, then you start taking that action as you're still thinking what you're doing, and then you get to really know yourself by doing the hard things. And I hope that helps someone. I mean, I'm not this. Uh, I think I'm still learning more about myself, what the values, the things I try to hold in my coaching business and program, and we're not all perfect, and I'm all three of us probably don't even know ourselves that well yet, but to a point
Exactly.
where we're trying to get to, I think you're always going to learn more about yourself. Best thing to do is eat the frog, is take the action, but also really ask yourself why. Everything revolves around why.
Perfect.
I hope that helps a lot of
Yeah.
guys, a lot of people.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
Dude, yeah, no, I have nothing else to say. That's like a perfect wrap to the episode. So, first of all, thank you so much for coming on today, man. This was awesome. But for people that want to follow you, get in touch with you, where can they do so?
You can find me on Instagram. To spell my name, you could probably imagine it in 10 different ways. Instead of Kie, I like to say Ei, as an Ei, whoa,
Oh,
that
oh,
song.
oh
What's
yeah.
popping now? So you can
Nelly.
follow me on Instagram, Keiferrp, Keifer P. You can also find me on YouTube, but follow me on there, and I try to get on my stories every single day and show you guys what Eating the Frog looks like, and putting my heart out there for you guys to take action so they can follow me there.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so
So
much.
thanks for
And
having me, guys. Thank you.
yeah, we hope that you guys enjoy this one. And comment your biggest takeaway. We'd love to hear it.
Love it.